Hello, good morning, and welcome. It's time for the last dance in the month of July. This is the last week, and we're super excited to be with you, ready to embark on this journey with you one last week, one last time in the month of July. Ugochukwu Madmer is my name, and I hope your weekend was lit. Yeah. As usual, I have the very amazing company of my delectable and very beautiful co-host. She would never introduce me like this, but guess what? I am that magnanimous, I'm that kind, I'm that liberal, I'm that much of a gentleman. Hi, Cynthia. Good morning to you. How was your weekend? Was it exciting?
No, it was not.
I wonder why. Because
You don't want me to say why. Don't worry. You actually don't want me to say why. If you want me to say why, I will know.
oh my God.
Good morning and welcome to Rapid Dawn. It's a beautiful Monday morning. I'm definitely sure that you're having a positive start of the day, whether you're still at home or on your way to work or already at work. We do hope that today promises or fulfills all the greatest delivery that it has for you. Cynthia Agbo is my name, and of course, welcome to Rapid Dawn. As we'd like to start the day, first of all, you'd like to have your health and wellness because, like I always tell you, your health is your wealth. We'll be right back.
Namaskar. Nowadays, lot of people tell me that they forget the things or they can't focus on anything for long. These changes in our brain are caused by habits and our lifestyles. When we have a sedentary lifestyle, spend hours on screen and keep on worrying about things, our brain loses its sharpness. If you are looking for a technique to sharpen the brain, then you are at the right place. In yoga, there is a practice called Anulom Vilom Pranayam. This is not just a breathing exercise. Anulom Vilom is a powerful yogic technique that can control the subtle prana or bioenergy in our body. The regular practice of Anulom Vilom Pranayam balances the prana flowing into Ida and Pingala Nadi. This in turn stimulates the central channel called as Sushumna Nadi. This helps in elimination of free radicals and toxins from these nadis and helps to restore the balance between the two hemispheres of our brain. The entire nervous system is purified. It is also deeply healing and bring mental calm, purity and peace. It strengthens and sharpens the mind and relaxes it completely. You can practice Anulom Vilom in the morning or in the evening, but do it 4 to 5 hours after having your food. Cardiac or blood pressure patients and pregnant women should not hold their breath while doing the pranayam. While doing this pranayam, just keep inhaling and exhaling. Just look at how Anulom Vilom makes your brain sharp. Researches show that Anulom Vilom pranayam balances the left and right hemisphere of the brain, enhancing communication between them. This balance leads to a better problem solving ability. It helps even in creativity and emotional stability, and that is what makes the brain sharp. The next benefit is that Anulom Vilom improves concentration and focus by increasing oxygen supply to the brain, enhance oxygenation support, neural activity, and improves mental clarity. People often tell me that after practicing Anulom Vilom regularly, they are more alert and they can focus very easily. Researches show that Anulom Vilom may support neural plasticity, which is the brain's ability to make new neural connection. This adaptability is essential for learning and memory. It also helps the brain to recover from injury and adapt to new situations. Can you see in how many different ways Anulom Vilom makes your brain sharper? Now let me teach you the correct method of doing Anulom Vilom Pranayam. First, sit upright in any meditative posture, maybe Sukhasana or Padmasana. Using your right thumb, block the right nostril. Inhale through the left nostril for 2 seconds. Now, block both the nostrils and hold the breath for 4 seconds. Keeping the left nostril blocked and releasing the right nostril. Now, inhale through the right nostril for 2 seconds. Block both the nostrils and hold the breath for 4 seconds. Keep the right nostril blocked and release the left nostril and exhale for 2 seconds from the left nostril. Now, block both the nostrils and suspend the breath for 2 seconds. This completes one single round. Start the cycle again. This time, inhale from the right nostril. Repeat for the maximum of 10 rounds. Try to maintain the ratio of inhalation and exhalation as 2:4 and suspension of the breath while holding the breath for double the duration. It looks very simple, but 99 out of 100 people in the class don't do it correctly. They forget which nostril to use for inhaling and then exhaling. They forget when to hold, when to leave. All this happens when the brain is not sharp. But when you keep doing this pranayam, it teaches your brain how to focus, how to be sharp. Anulom Vilom Pranayam is a powerful method to sharpen the brain. While it looks very simple, practicing it correctly needs your full attention and concentration. And when you do it regularly, brain automatically learns to focus and the brain becomes sharp. Take care. Namaskar.
All right, welcome back. That was a bit there on your health and having focus and relax.
Yeah, apparently you need your brain as sharp and as healthy. Yeah, and unburdened is possible if you're going to be productive. If you did not understand all of that whole analogy and explanations, basically telling you to breathe in and breathe out. Yeah, learn to do that. Learn to breathe. Inhale, exhale. You will be fine.
All right, let's now move on to some of the things that you probably missed last week and before we now get to what happened over the weekend. And we'd like to call it our week rundown. So let's start with the first story on the week rundown, which has to do with Donald Trump escapes attempted assassination. Of course, that story broke out last week, and it was over the weekend / the new week, and it was everywhere. Number two, let's have the second one. Okay, so we had a case of the story of the Supreme Court gives power to local government in Nigeria. That is the financial autonomy. That was a big conversation everywhere. Let's move to the third one. Nigeria taking right decisions to end crude oil theft. The Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, asked to keep momentum. That's all from the OPEC. And moving to the fourth one. Ban lifted.
Federal government signals 70%, more like a confirmation regards to new minimum wage. Saw that story last week. Next one. I don't know what to make of this album by Rema. But then again, it was an event we saw that happened last week. And moving on. Okay, shots fired. Military killed several wanted terrorists in Bama local government in Borno State. Victory there for the Nigerian military in the war and the fight against terrorism. Fire for fire. Dele Momodu, Don Kukwe Reno Omokri, trade blames over state of Nigerian economy. Well, I was still in that state where we're saying you did it. No, it's you that did it. Well, that's exactly where we are. Okay, Dangote says he still lives in a rented apartment. And very funny heading there, Alhaji Tenant. And there's also a development regards to Dangote, probably let you in on that during the show. Senator Aline Dume from the APC sacked as chief whip after criticizing President Tinubu and the fact that he's unaccessible. Do we have any more updates from that? Well, that's basically more like a summary of the major events from last week, and I think we're in for some more. Well, if you want to call it drama, you may not be far away from the truth. We're in for some interesting times this week.
All right, we'll go on a short break. When we come back, we will now get down to some of the things that happened over the weekend. All right, welcome back. Let's now move on straight to some of the things that happened over the weekend. Interestingly, beautiful things happened as well as crazy things did happen. So we had the guy who broke the Guinness record for the largest painting. And so Nigerian doctor and visual artist, Dr. Fola David, has definitely surpassed the existing record for the world's largest painting by an individual. Let's look at some of the beautiful videos from this particular record-breaking activity. At that particular stadium over the weekend, he has been painting, drawing, everything for about 5 days. And the goal was for him to surpass the existing record and also be able to create a new record for himself. And so the previous record was about 629.98 square meters, held by the Indian Ravi Soni. And that record has been held since 2017, thereabout. And so he was determined to attain his ultimate goal of 1,000 square meters of art, which of course is what he did. And so we had lots of people come, show him support. We had some of the representative of the Guinness World Record right there in the stadium. We had a Proco doctor. We had the former presidential aspirant of the Labour Party, Peter Obi. We had Fowles also came through. I think we have a video of when Fowles came through. We had lots of amazing people, come in there to show it. Okay, yeah, this was when Fowles came in. Faust came in. We also had Ricardo Banks. He also came through to the stadium that very day. We had students come visit him and show him support from his school. They came through to show him. And then we had the Mr. Steez.
Farouk?
Yes, we had Farouk right there. Now, the image of Oriegba, who stole the show, was also on that art that David put together. So it was an amazing weekend, and we're happy that he's been able to surpass this and be able to create another record for himself. We also had the Minister of Arts and Culture right there. Yes, that's her right there. She also paid a visit to him at the stadium over the weekend. I want to say a very big congratulations to Dr. Fola David. And also the president also sent his goodwill message saying congratulations to Dr. Fola David for completing his attempt and making the world's largest hand drawing by an individual. Unity in diversity. It is a remarkable achievement, and we are filled with great pride and admiration for this accomplishment. I wonder where this art is going to be kept. Maybe you put it at the presidential villa. Very, very large, and congratulations to Dr. Fola. His parents were also there over the weekend. Yes, his parents were there, his family members, they were there to show him some love on the last day. It was a beautiful one. My happiness was that there was enough to eat and drink. And that was the most beautiful thing for me in everything.
It's such a beautiful artwork. It's almost as if you don't want them to touch it. You're talking about moving it. It's one of those things that you see and you're like, please don't touch it so you don't spoil anything.
Of course, they'll move it, they'll touch it.
Yeah, definitely they are going to do that, but it's so beautiful. It's so commendable. From Hilda Basi to Tunde Onakoya to Fola, and I mean, a whole lot of Nigerians who are doing us proud out there on the global scene, and this is a win for us. At least nobody produced the fake certificate. This is absolutely amazing, and the fact that it's not towing one particular line. After Hilda's feat, it seemed like the only thing that Nigerians knew how to do was cook, up until someone like Tunde took up the challenge to play chess for the longest time.
That's not totally right. That's not totally correct, because actually there have been some persons who have been breaking the records even before Hilda, after Hilda, but it has not even been for cooking. But then they didn't have they didn't have much publicity like Hilda got. And we had, I mean, just recently, I think a few days ago, we had the guy who just finished breaking the record of twerking. I don't understand. It's not a record. What?
Okay. Yeah.
We had the guy who broke the record a few days ago, just this very weekend as well. For twerking, he twerked for how long? Because the last record was about how many hours, and so he beat the record. We also had the lady who, for the longest hand
wig.
Wig. She got her certificate right here in Nigeria. That has been broken. We also had the guy for haircut. The guy who does haircut, and he has broken that record and created a new record. So there have been lots of Nigerians doing a lot of amazing things, in this record that are not even cooking related. It's just that they didn't have the PR, but it didn't stop them from collecting their
For me,
certificates.
I'm more concerned about, some of the records or some of the attempts that, and now this is my personal opinion, it's not right or wrong, that makes sense. Someone breaking the world record for the largest drawing. Wow, amazing. Longest hours playing chess undefeated. Beautiful. Okay, now you're talking about twerking. I don't understand.
You're the one trying to categorize them as sense or no sense. Because
And that's why I said this is
all on the
me
record.
now. This is me now.
Don't forget, we had then, before this whole record thing became a thing for lots of Nigerians, we've had Kafi, who broke the record for the longest dancer. We had, at that time we had Kafi. It was
That makes sense.
No, the thing is, as far as you're in that record, everything makes sense. There are occasions where you see the reps over there. What are they doing? The person who can break coconuts in 1 minute, and you are amazed that people are gathered. The lights, the cameras, everything, to see a person
That
who
shows
can
physical
break.
strength. That makes a little sense.
So a person who twerks doesn't show physical strength.
What does it show now?
It doesn't show strength.
And it's a man who.
Of course.
What does it show?
What does it show? The thing is this: because the record doesn't make sense to you, doesn't mean that it's not a record.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying to me,
Every record is a record. In as much as the record is on that book, and you are capable of breaking it, and it does not infringe on the rights of anybody. It does not infringe on the laws and order of your community, your country, your state, or whatever it is. You are well within your rights to participate in that. And the truth is, you will still get the paper. If you have as much money as the Folas and the Hildas and the Kafi and the rest of them, yes,
amazing
you
PR.
You get your people. And like, I think some time ago in Ghana, there was this lady who wanted to break the record for kissing, and anyway, let's move on. let's get to
Are we really gonna move on from that?
let's hear some motivation this morning before we now move on to the story of Joe Biden stepping down. We'll be right back.
Influence has the word flu in it. Why? Because influence works the same way as a flu. You catch it. Hang out with people who drink. You will drink too. Why? Because these people have something over you your pastor might not even have, or your parents. Influence. Bad habits are not taught. A lot of times they're caught. How do you catch it? Hang out with people who have it. When I'm around the world, you have to understand, I have to intentionally practice confession and repentance to sanitize my soul, so that the contamination from the soul, from this world, doesn't affect my soul. You're walking around people with a flu who's having influence on you, and you're saying, no, this won't affect me. It will affect you. Did you know that the word influence has the word flu in it? Why? Because influence works the same way as a flu. You catch it. Hang out with people who drink. You will drink too. Why? Because these people have something over you your pastor might not even have, or your parents. Influence. Bad habits are not taught. A lot of times they're caught. How do you catch it? Hang out with people who have it. When I'm around the world, you have to understand, I have to intentionally practice confession and repentance to sanitize my soul, so that the contamination from the soul, from this world, doesn't affect my soul. You're walking around people with a flu who's having influence on you, and you're saying, no, this won't affect me. It will affect you.
And of course, this is why I always talk about, if you cannot beat them, you leave them. I have never believed in joining them. You leave them, because as far as this world is concerned, a lot of times you just think that you are immune. You just think that you're so strong enough. You just feel that, oh, it's not my thing. But as a matter of fact, the more you keep moving with people like that, who do not share the same value as yourself, and thinking that, oh, okay, they can do their thing, I will do my thing, that's fine, everybody's okay. It doesn't work that way. It's just a matter of time, and you begin to do exactly, be it in private or in public, but you begin to do exactly what those people do. And sometimes you may be too ashamed to let them know that you're already doing what they are doing, because you might feel like they're going to laugh at you and probably mock you and say, after all the strong that you've done. So if it's all about values, for me, it's all about values. If a person doesn't match your value, if a person doesn't align with your value and your purpose and the things that you believe in, there's really no need hanging around people like that. You just move on to where your values align in every sphere of life, be it in relationship, be it in partnership, be it in business, be it in whatever it is. I've heard some people say, this thing don't align with you, no problem, just gain what you can gain and leave. What do you even want to gain exactly? But anyway, let's move on to stories that happened as we stopped the other time. So we've moved on from Ugo's side. We are now coming to going to the US, where we heard over the weekend, or rather yesterday, that Joe Biden has stepped down. And I think we have a video of where he talked about it. Let's have that video on the screen. Joe Biden stepped down from the presidential race. It doesn't mean that he's not the president anymore. He's still the president of the United States, but he put out a statement. Let's have that statement. So he had one official statement, and then he had another statement on his X handle, where he talked about his nomination and the focus, his energy on the duties as president for the remainder of his term. And he also said that he would like to nominate, pick Kamala Harris, who is presently his vice president, and it has been the best decision he has made. And he wants to offer his full support and endorsement for Kamala to be the nominee of their great party for this year. That's the Democrats. And then he said it's time to come together to beat Trump. Let's do this. After this was said yesterday, there have been mixed reactions from a lot of Americans. And then there's also some persons that have decided to show their support. In fact, it will shock you to know that just yesterday alone, report has it that the amount of donations that have been made to the support of Kamala Harris is over $40-something million, which is the largest donation for a single day for a candidate, or rather for a candidate. Let's put it that way. And all of this was done to show support for Kamala Harris. Now, this donation is not about those rich men and women who decide to throw in their money. This is coming from the people who throw in their $2, their $15, their $100, their $3. This is the donation they are calculating, which has amounted to over $40-something million. We would say that, well, this is America problem, but some persons are like, she doesn't have what it takes to beat a Donald Trump. Looking at the fact that it's just how many months, the second debate is coming up, and the elections are also coming up. So how much time? But there have been a bit of different stories. Some saying that the party was not aware, or some of the campaign people are not aware that Biden was going to step down. As at yesterday afternoon, morning/afternoon, they were still very sure that Joe Biden was still in the race for presidency, only for them to see all of that in the, on social space that he has stepped down. But, well, I think that it's just a turnout of the pressure mounted upon him to step down, because last week there were reports that the party is pressuring him to step down from the race. And so I think it shouldn't be a new thing. He has stepped down. This is actually the first time that a candidate is stepping down from the race. I think the first time in a long while that a candidate is actually stepping down from the race. And so if Donald Trump succeeds in becoming the president, is going to be another historic move. Well, it's left for Americans to decide what they want to do. Do they want to go with Donald Trump, aka Pumpkin, or what? They want to go with Kamala Harris. It's totally up to them. That's their call to make, basically.
Well, not a lot of surprise there. The withdrawal of President Joe Biden, especially after that June 27 debate, after that incident where he gave some, what you might call, an incoherent answer to one of the questions at the debate. A lot of people were like, okay, we're not really sure you're the man for the job. And now, like you said, historic if Kamala Harris gets to win. She is already enjoying a lot of support from a whole lot of other Democrats, including former President Barack Obama, who was one of the people who even was, even though in a subtle way, vocal about the unfitness, pardon my use of words now, of President Joe Biden. So the next couple of months certainly going to be interesting until we hit November, when Americans will be going to the poll.
All right, let's now move on to some of the stories that you might likely be seeing in the coming days from us. We have about 2 reports to bring to you. One of them is about the planned protest, which is supposed to be in August. And of course, the Northern Group have something to say about that. And we have a report on that. We also have a report on the National Population Census. Let's start with that of the Northern Groups criticizing government policies and the rising hardship.
Addressing this news conference, Coalition of Northern Groups expressed disappointment and concern over the dire economic situation in Nigeria, despite the country's large economy and population.
The CNG has observed that inflation has created horrible and traumatic economic consequences. It has led to huge losses on investment, disruption of business activities, an increase in poverty and unemployment. This is in addition to the social consequences created by insecurity, such as displacement of communities, loss of lives and properties, and psychological trauma. It is no longer news that pervasive hardship across the country has eroded trust in the present government, and it is exponentially threatening national unity, peace, and security.
With a staggering 38.9% poverty rate and 87 million people living below poverty line, the CNG believes that the recent increase in minimum wage from 30,000 naira to 70,000 naira, though a hard-won victory for the Nigerian Labour Congress (NLC), is merely a palliative measure.
For a long time, the CNG holds the firm view that increasing minimum wage amid rising inflation, devaluation of the naira, and pervasive economic crisis will never solve the problem of Nigerian workers. While we appreciate the federal government's intention to pay a decent living wage to Nigerian workers, we are skeptical over the federal government's plan to further increase the fuel price in order to fund the new national minimum wage. Hike in fuel prices will not only overburden the Nigerian workers, but it will also economically pauperize Nigerians.
The CNG argues that the only way to truly address the country's economic woes is for the president to summon the courage to tackle the root causes of the problems, including weak job creation and entrepreneurial prospect, which drive many Nigerians to immigrate in search of better opportunities.
Mr. President must summon the needed political will and courage to urgently address the root cause of these problems, that is, rising fuel pump price, hike in electricity tariff, escalating cost of food items, depreciating value of the naira, and high cost of governance. These problems predated your government, but the policies your government adopted since coming to power have combined to compound these problems, especially the imposition of high taxation on both citizens and businesses.
The CNG urges the government to take bold action to address these underlying issues and create a more prosperous future for all Nigerians.
The shortage of adequate data and insufficient evidence to explain situations, monitor implementation, measure achievements, amongst others, are obstacles to societal development. In the light of this year's World Population Day, the need to surmount these challenges cannot be emphasized enough.
All right, that was
Yeah, apparently the story on the population census very eager to show itself, maybe because it's been a while since we had a population census. So basically trying to let us know how pertinent it is that such a thing might happen again. We'll bring you that report, but the first one on the northern groups who, of course, calling for urgent government intervention, hoping that something drastic is done to prevent the planned protest. I do not know that it will be possible in the next 1 week for anything. Off the top of my head, I'm really wondering something drastic that could happen that would basically assuage the desires of a whole lot of Nigerians to hit the streets. Now, a couple of lawmakers have said, look, we don't mind if you're going to have our salaries to achieve that, to help our people. I don't know what it is that government is going to do, but basically keeping our fingers crossed. Lots of Nigerians feel strongly about expressing their views, and this time around coming from a section of the country that, basically not known for, things like that. But then again, let's see how events unfold. And now to that very second report on the National Population Commission, and let's take a listen. Esther Umelo was at that event and sent in this report.
The shortage of adequate data and insufficient evidence to explain situations, monitor implementation, measure achievements, amongst others, are obstacles to societal development. In the light of this year's World Population Day, the need to surmount these challenges cannot be emphasized enough.
Lagos State is getting ready to do its own e-registration portal to set it up. The importance of this cannot be overemphasized. First of all, we're going to link the information, the certificates with NIN. That's the most significant importance of it. Secondly, we'll be able to ensure that we know the number of children that are born. Because sometimes when you are abroad, you have your children. There's no way for you to register them. But now with this e-portal that is going to be launched in Lagos State very soon, you have the opportunity of registering the births of your children anywhere you are in the world, and indeed telling us about the deaths too anywhere in the world.
Head counting in accordance with international best practices is done every 10 years. But the last time Nigeria had a census exercise was in 2006. However, the NPC Federal Commissioner in Lagos is optimistic of having one soon.
We're ready, almost 90% ready, as the National Population Commission, both at the state and at the national level. We just need the last push to get it done. And he, the president, being knowing the importance of census to developmental purposes, he will be there for us and he will give us the go-ahead to do it very soon.
The rising rate of population requires proactive measures in the quest for proper planning.
The rate at which population is growing has a tremendous impact on the environment, development, and eradication of poverty. This year's theme, embracing the power of inclusive data towards a resilient and equitable future for all, is to focus attention on the need for more understanding.
The National Population Commission is thankful and seeking more support from the United Nations Population Fund, the Lagos State government, and other partners in the bid to ensure better planning. Estelle Mello, Rapid TV, Lagos.
Okay, there you have it. Plans. The National Population Commission is ready. So what this means is that they're basically waiting for a go-ahead from Mr. President to say, okay, get us the real number. Because since the last census, when people talk about numbers in terms of our population, it's usually over 200 million. There's really no definitive statistics as to the number of people in the country, and very correct that information that the last census was in 2006. I think it was I just finished or rather entering secondary school at the time, but let's see what happens.
We'll go on a short music break here. When we come back, we'll bring you our last stories before it's time for sports. All right, welcome back. It's still Rapid Dawn right here, and in a few minutes it will be time for sports. What do we have?
Yeah, lots of interesting stories. Your favorite, Osimhen, is very much part of the news. Lots of preseason games that are about to kick start. But just before we go to that, Lucas Podolski, remember him? He was once a player for Germany and also did play for Arsenal. I think he even did retire at Arsenal, one of the top scorers for Germany. Now, if you thought that football was all there is to that amazing goal poacher, you may just be wrong, because in his home country, he is known for something different, and it is not football. Let's take a look at something that makes Podolski really popular in Germany. Okay. It appears we do not have that video ready. We'll bring it to you much later on the show. Well, that leaves us with just about 2 minutes before top of the hour. We will bring you the sports show, Rapid Sports, on the breakfast show right at the dot of the hour. Stay with us. Good morning. Thank you very much for joining us on Rapid Sports this morning. Ugochukwu Madimere is my name. Top on our list is that we're counting down to the 2024 Paralympics. We'll have a couple of our athletes who we're hoping will do us proud, and this might just be their last appearance at an Olympics event. And we also have top on that list the Super Falcons of Nigeria, who are making a grand return to the games since the last time they participated, which was in 2008. Now, a lot of expectations ahead of the kickoff of the games, which will be starting on the 26th. I think it's Friday, if I'm not mistaken. And a couple of transfer stories making the rounds as well. Pre-season friendlies going on. Yesterday, Manchester United won 2-0 against Rangers of Scotland. Lenny Euro played his first game for Manchester United. Well, before we get to that, let's kick off with the Olympics, and just 4 days now to the commencement of the 2024 Paralympics, and football enthusiasts are eagerly awaiting and anticipating the women's football event that has seen some mouth-watering fixtures following some interesting draws. Well, the Super Falcons of Nigeria will be competing for the fourth time. The last time they played in the tournament was in Beijing in 2008. Before that, they qualified twice for the games in Sydney in 2000 and in Athens in 2004. Now, it is on record that Super Falcons are the only women's national team from the Confederation of African Football, that's Africa, to make a cut in the quarterfinals of the FIFA Women's World Cup and the Olympics. Remember, we got to this stage after a 1-0 aggregate win against the Bayana of South Africa over two-legged encounters, one at the Moshood Abiola Stadium and also one in South Africa. Now, Nigeria joined 11 nations to compete at the Olympics. The 12 teams are split into 3 groups of 4. Now, in Group C, that's where you have the Super Falcons of Nigeria, the Spaniards, the Japanese, and the Brazilians. Now, of course, you know, the Spanish side are the World Cup winners, and they also backed that triumph with success in the Nations League in February, as they were hardly challenged in the finals by Netherlands of France and comfortably earned automatic qualification in their women's Euro qualifying campaign. But they are not unbeatable. Earlier in July, they suffered a 2-1 defeat to the Czech Republic. And remember, during the World Cup last year, they were actually beaten 4-0 by Japan, despite the fact that they eventually won the competition. And even at some points, they were 2-0 down before that incredible comeback against Denmark. Now, the defeat to Japan was a group stage match in the tournament that they won. They were without Barcelona's star and, of course, women's player of the year, Aitana Bonmati. And a red card meant they weren't at the full complement to try to complete a comeback against the Czech. It feels unlikely anyone will be able to stop them at the Olympics. But yes, again, the Super Falcons of Nigeria have that match to play. Japan is also one of the teams to watch out for. I already told you they beat Spain during the World Cup by 4-0. Well, they did win some of their recent friendlies against New Zealand and Ghana. Brazil also one of the most dreaded teams at the Olympics after a disastrous World Cup campaign in which they crashed out in the group stages for the first time. They made a coaching change in September that saw Arthur Elias replace Pierre Sondage, and their 3 defeats to Canada, Japan, and the US all came to nil with, well, work to do there. So the Super Falcons of Nigeria definitely have their hands full in Group C. And it appears that squad numbers have been issued to our players. We did have a training session yesterday in Bordeaux, France, where we also played our last tune-up game, and it was against the Canadians that we lost by a solitary strike. So It was a full training session, had a complement of all of our players. Right there in Bordeaux, and Randy Waldrum has magnanimously given the 18 players Saturday as rest day to allow for a full recovery after 2 weeks training in Seville and jet lag from the flight from Seville to Bordeaux. And that's about it from the camp of the Super Eagles. Now, let's move to yet another of our women's team, but this time around, the basketball team, Nigeria senior women's basketball team, talking about the Tigress. They are also getting ready to be a part of the Olympics. They suffered a second consecutive warm-up defeat. That does not give us a lot of hope now in preparations for the 2024 Olympics, which will be held between July 26th and August 11th. The African champions lost 70-62 to the 10th ranked country in the FIBA World Ranking. This is the team's second match ahead of the women's basketball tournament of the 2024 Olympics, following a 77-63 defeat to Germany at the Uber Arena in Berlin earlier on Friday. Renner Wakama's ladies started slowly and trailed by 6 points in the first quarter, which ended 21-15. Serbia took a 10-point lead into the halftime break after winning the second quarter. The African champions began a charge in the third quarter, leveling things at 18-18 before winning the last quarter by 15-13. But it wasn't just enough to get anything from that particular game. Well, our final warm-up game, the Tigress, is up against Japan, and that will be on Wednesday in Lille, France, before the start of the basketball event at the Olympics. We'll face what you might call a very difficult task against Canada, against Australia, and host France in Group B. Nigeria, record 4 consecutive winners of the FIBA AfroBasket, will be punching above their weight in Paris with their first opponents. Australia, ranked 3rd in the world. Canada and France are ranked 5th and 7th, respectively. And this will be their first ever win. Well, still looking actually for their first ever win in the Women's Olympic Basketball Tournament, having lost all group games and conceded over 200 points on their debut at Tokyo 2020. And it was just really disappointing. Well, we wish them all the very best. Now, I did tell you there are a couple of our athletes who might be making a final appearance at this year's Olympics. Now, first on that list is Chidi Okezie, who is aged 30 and will be participating in the 400 meters and 4x400 meters relay as well. He currently holds the 52nd position in the world for the 400 meters and 110th for the position for 200 meters. Edose Ibadi, age 31 and participating in 800 meters, is also another man that might be participating in his last Olympics. And for the shot put, he will be 35 when the next Olympics will be held in Los Angeles, and he would need much strength and stamina to perform optimally at that level and age. And he's no other person than Chukwuebuka Enekwechi. And he's one of the few Nigerian medal prospects and should make his swan song resonate with a podium finish in Paris. There's also Chioma Onyekore. There's Patience Okon John, who will be participating in the relay. There's Omolara Omotosho and Blessing Oburududu, Odunayo Adekuroye. Aruna Quadri in table tennis is 35. That means he might be 39 or 40 ahead of the next Olympics. So this might just be their last appearance at the Olympics. Now let's go international and talk about some of the transfer news that are making the rounds and preseason news. Spanish striker Alvaro Morata has joined the AC Milan from La Liga side Atletico Madrid on a 4-year contract, the Serie A club said on Friday. Neither Milan nor Atletico disclosed the financial details, but it is reported to be around 13 million euros, having joined Atletico for a reported fee of around 65 million euros in 2019. Well, he captained Spain to European glory on Sunday, scoring 58 goals in 154 appearances for the club. He started his career with Real Madrid before moving to Juventus in 2014, had a spell at Chelsea and the Santiago Bernabeu. He won the Champions League, the La Liga, and Copa del Rey, I beg your pardon, twice, while also winning the FIFA World Cup and FIFA Club World Cup and UEFA Super Cup. Well, during his time with Chelsea, he won the Europa League and the FA Cup. And still talking about the Serie A, Spaniard Cesc Fabregas has been appointed as head coach of Como after leading them to promotion to Serie A as assistant and interim coach last season. Well, the former Arsenal, Barcelona, and Chelsea midfielder ended his playing career at Como in 2023 and became an assistant coach at the club. Well, he took over as interim coach after head coach Moreno Longo was fired, and Como is delighted to confirm Cesc Fabregas to become head coach, and we understand that Rafael Varane might indeed be playing his football there next season. And talking about Olympique Marseille now, English striker Mason Greenwood said he only wanted to look forward when he was asked at his first Marseille press conference on Friday about the uproar surrounding his arrival at the club. The 22-year-old was suspended in January by Manchester United following allegations of attempted rape and sexual assault, but prosecutors dropped charges in February 2023. That conversation was brought up again, but he said, I understand the question. I don't really want to get into any conversation or discussions about that. Now, there's a section of the Marseille fans who are not in support of the signing of Mason Greenwood, and the English striker could start their first game in their next preseason game. And the FA, the English FA, we understand, have identified a number of candidates to replace Gareth Southgate as they search for England manager capable of winning a major tournament. Well, that's really a swipe and a shade there to the big man Gareth Southgate. So he probably knows how to get the team to the finals. I mean, he did that not once, not twice, but maybe winning is where he has a problem. Now, for news making the rounds in mainland Europe, West Ham are interested in a move for AC Milan's 26-year-old English defender Fikayo Tomori. Arsenal are close to agreeing a deal with Bologna worth a combined £42.1 million for 22-year-old Italy defender Riccardo Calafiori. I mean, this Calafiori guy, Arsenal have been on his radar for quite a while. He keeps turning up, speculations, rumors here and there, back and forth. Is he going to sign for Arsenal, or is there going to be a surprise deal with regards to Riccardo Calafiori? Well, I don't really know, but this particular speculation has dragged on for quite some time. Manchester United are hopeful of beating Bayern Munich and RB Leipzig to the signing of Paris Saint-Germain's 21-year-old Netherlands winger Xavi Simons. Al Ittihad have approached Manchester City over a deal for 30-year-old Brazil goalkeeper Ederson, who has won everything there is with regards to club football. We are also hearing that Manchester City's Belgium midfielder Kevin De Bruyne has not agreed terms with Saudi Arabian club Al Ittihad, despite reports. Well, there are speculations and beliefs in certain quarters that Kevin De Bruyne might be signing for Al Ittihad. Now, Aston Villa are willing to sell a 26-year-old Poland right back Matty Cash this summer. Manchester United have decided not to trigger an option to sign Morocco midfielder Sofiane Amrabat on a permanent deal. A lot of hope, a lot of belief that Sofiane Amrabat was going to solve the problems, defensive problems of Manchester United, especially in the middle of the pack. But I mean, with Manchester United didn't really, personally for me, not a lot of contribution from the Moroccan, right there. And news from Toto Mercato in Italy says that Manchester United have decided not to trigger an option to sign him permanently. The Premier League club are interested in keeping Amrabat at the club after his loan spell last season, but they want to negotiate a new deal. Arsenal have made a fresh bid worth up to £300,000 for Wolves' 21-year-old English goalkeeper Dan Bentley. Well, this is because Aaron Ramsdale wants first-team football. He wants to be playing regularly. Of course, last season, since the arrival of David Raya, his playing time has drastically reduced. Aston Villa French forward Moussa Diaby is expected to complete his move to Al Ittihad this week. Well, this one I can authoritatively confirm to you that this might be happening. And Villa will look to replace Diaby with Atletico Madrid's 24-year-old forward Joao Felix. And United do not want to allow Scotland midfielder Scott McTominay to leave Old Trafford amid interest on Fulham and Tottenham. Well, finally, Paris Saint-Germain are set to advance their pursuit of Napoli's Nigeria forward Victor Osimhen, as well as Osimhen. PSG also want to sign Napoli Georgia winger Kivcha Kvaratskhelia and 19-year-old French midfielder Desailly from Rennes. And that's about it on the show this morning, everyone. Thank you so much for being there, because he who fights and runs away lives to fight another day. Well, until tomorrow, when we'll be back with more from the world of sports. Ugochukwu Madimere is my name. The Breakfast Show continues in just a moment.
My name is Akio Sakido.
Hey guys, this is Anto Lecky.
My name is Leo Bliss.
My name is Akava, go by the name Baba D.
And you're tuned into Rapid TV. And I love Rapid TV.
Shout out to Rapid TV. Thank you, Rapid TV. Please keep watching
Rapid TV.
This is Rapid TV.
Rapid
TV.
Keep watching.
Keep it move down.
Leave it like that.
Rise and shine with Rapid Dawn, your essential morning companion only on Rapid TV.
Start your day with us. We bring you the latest news, engaging discussions, and a fresh perspective on issues that matter.
From weather updates to our wellness tip, interesting recipes, and our trendy conversations every Tuesday to the weirdest of talks on Wednesday, Rapid Dawn has got you covered. So grab a coffee and join us every weekday morning on Rapid Dawn. Let's greet the day together.
Rapid Dawn, weekday mornings at 7 a.m. only on Rapid TV. Join us and wake to the dawn of a new day. See you in the morning.
All right, welcome back. It's the Rapid Dawn. This is the other side of the show where I always like the most, where we get to have a conversation this morning. And so this morning, we're going to be talking about something really, really interesting, and which has to do with client and lawyer confidentiality. Now, this is one issue that I think that the MBA and lawyers generally are taking really, 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 emphasis on really seriously, because, nobody wants to have the EFCC on their back trying to know what they're doing in terms of financial transactions with their clients. But anyway, to have that conversation with us, and of course there've been a new development regarding to that. Just to give you a highlight of what we're talking about. Okay, so sometime in 2018 we had the Nigerian Bar Association say that the Economic and Financial Commission lacks the power to meddle into client-lawyer contractual relationship. And it was a big deal at the time, because there was a case where Paul Usor, the NBA president, was being investigated by the anti-graft agency for alleged money laundering to the tune of 1.4 billion. So many things surrounding that. And if you recall, or if you're not very familiar with that story, you discover that in his case, Usoro's case is not the first of these intrusions, which was what was said by Mike Ezekwome. Okay, so yeah, if you recall, Mike Ezekwome had a similar issue at the time. But these are many more we're talking about, because just recently, I think a few days ago, there was a development. We'll talk about that. We have our guest in the studio. He is a legal person, Arume Abu, and he'll be having this conversation with us. And so I saw a headline over the weekend, and I told him, I said, we should talk about this. Good to have you on the show this morning.
Thank you very much, Cynthia. It's always a pleasure to be here.
I mean, I'm so happy. Now, when I saw that headline, which read, Court expunges sections of law compelling lawyers to reveal clients' financial transaction, I was like, whoop, whoop, whoop. This is a great conversation that we should have. And aside from the fact that the headline was intriguing and exciting, the person we have seated here is one of those persons that chanted these particular calls. We hear that you started this journey in 2023, and in 2024 there's been progress. Let's now talk about let's start from the top, which is client and lawyer financial transaction. How did we get to the point where the EFCC begin to meddle into it to know what is going on?
Okay, thank you very much. First of all, I want to issue a disclaimer. When people hear lawyers quarrel about the meddling of the EFCC in lawyer-client confidentiality, the thinking or the impression people get is that we're trying to shield crime, we're trying to shield our clients or trying to launder money. That is not the intention. Now, the lawyer-client confidentiality obligation, the confidentiality obligation that we owe our clients, it is so dear to us because there are certain professionals, doctors and lawyers, so many other professionals, that this fiduciary relationship exists. Fiduciary relationship entails a situation whereby two persons, one of superior position and so one of inferior position, now they come to you with their vulnerability. There's a reason why clients can tell their lawyers that I killed XYZ person, I'm guilty of this offense, defend me, right? It is because they know that we are under obligation, that by virtue of our training, we are under obligation to keep certain conversations discreet. And this is guaranteed under Section 192 of the Evidence Act and Rule 19 of the Rules of Professional Conduct. What these sections deal with is lawyer-client confidentiality. That when clients make disclosures to their lawyers, the lawyers are expected to keep such conversations sacred. Okay, so with regards to the interference of EFCC, in 2011, the National Assembly enacted a law, Money Laundering Act 2011. That is the penultimate act, the one that came before the 2022 act that we took EFCC to court to.
Yeah.
And in that law had certain provisions that required lawyers, in the course of their engagement with clients, to ask for certain details from the client, such as asking them for their international passport, getting their records, asking them how
financial records or personal records?
Well, they call it KYC.
Okay.
Yes. So by the time you get that record, get their data page of their passport, then you are required to forward the details of that conversation or whatever you discussed, the financial implication, whatever fee you're charging your client, you forward same to the EFCC. And before the coming into force of the Money Laundering Act, there was the Legal Practitioners Act, which predated the Money Laundering Act, and there was also the Rules of Professional Conduct. Like I said, there was the Evidence Act. So the later act, which is the Money Laundering Act, requiring lawyers to make these disclosures to EFCC periodically, was in conflict with the Evidence Act and the Legal Practitioners Act. So the NBA, in its wisdom in 2013, approached the Federal High Court and got judgment repealing those offensive sections that were contrary to the provisions of the Legal Practitioners Act and the Evidence Act. And in summary, what this is, for the layman to understand, is that while the Money Laundering Act tried to, or attempted to, make lawyers to make disclosures, give disclosures of their dealings with clients to EFCC, the Legal Practitioners Act and the Evidence Act was seen otherwise. So the court, in its wisdom, held that both laws are not harmonious and cannot coexist. And in essence, the court repealed the 2011, the sections of the 2011 Money Laundering Act that sought to apply to legal practitioners, and said the provisions of the Money Laundering Act 2011 cannot apply or cannot regulate the legal profession.
Okay, let's now go back to 2018 where we had the case of Usoro, and then we also now talk about Bito of Mike. And then I now want to ask you, ask you, why did it take the NBA so long? I know the NBA have been talking about it, because even during the time of Usoro in 2018 and the case of Mike, the NBA did say some in a communique which was released. They did say that if these EFCC incursions are not checked, the bar and the practice of our profession are doomed. And it also says that if it said that such independence is now being threatened and trampled upon by the EFCC. Lawyers now have to walk on tiptoe, looking at their shoulders. Okay, so this is the part where the ordinary Nigerian now would now want to say, okay, if you are sure you're doing the right thing, why are you worried about this? And I remember the NBA did say that the recent decision of the Court of Appeal that was delivered, that was in June 2017, between the Central Bank of Nigeria and the Registered Trust of the NBA, affirmed this position. Now, by questioning lawyers on the legitimate fees that they have earned from clients, EFCC is breaching the lawyer-client privilege and showing complete disregard for the judgment of the court in this regard. So, why did it take so long to get progress? And why is the NBA so concerned about this? If truly, like, I'm just trying to ask what the ordinary Nigerian, where their minds would want to go towards.
Yes, you said something very important. And you said, if you're doing the right thing, why should you worry? Why should you be afraid? Now, we're not trying to shield lawyers from criminal investigation. We don't have any form of immunity. What we seek to protect is the sanctity and the decency of the communication we have with our clients. Like I said before, there's a reason why they can trust us to talk to us. If they know that we have lost this privilege that we have, we wouldn't get the best of our clients. And once your client is not honest with you, you're sure not to have a good day in court. So what we seek to protect is the sanctity of our conversation. We don't want any law compelling us to disclose. Now, EFCC or other law enforcement agencies can go about criminal investigation without necessarily, if I'm a lawyer now, you are not a lawyer. If I have a conversation with you in the course of legal dealings, EFCC can actually, they are EFCC, they said they are ego, you know, so they can actually find out, do their investigations, go through the bank, get whatever information they need, go to any length to get their EFCC to get information, do their investigation without necessarily
going through you guys,
going through us and asking us to divulge our conversations with our clients. That's on the one hand.
Okay.
And you also asked about why did it take
so long?
Well, you recall, like I said, the Money Laundering Act 2011 was repealed as the offensive sections that sought to regulate the legal practice were repealed. Then in 2022, the National Assembly surreptitiously, whether it was a pastness of sneak now, they brought it
They snuck it in.
They brought it in back to the Money Laundering Act 2022. And it is sad to say that there was no public hearing. Usually, before they pass any law that affects the practice of every profession, they invite stakeholders for deliberations and public hearing so that you state your concern. In this case, it was not done.
Why wasn't it done?
That's part of the subterfuge, or if you like, trick of the National Assembly to just sneak it in so that nobody will hurriedly pass it into law So that was what happened. That was in May 2022.
So was it a matter of the assembly working with the EFCC to achieve that?
Very possible, because law enforcement agents or agencies of government can approach the National Assembly, maybe through a representative whose committee has oversight over maybe financial matters and propose a bill. It's very possible. I don't have the facts. However, it's very possible. So when this was done in 2022, our firm went to court in 2023 January. The matter had a very long history, you know, had so many setbacks from January 2023 down to 2024 July on Friday, when judgment was delivered. The matter had CBN as first defendant, EFCC as second, GTB third. Because if you don't mind, a brief history of the case.
Okay.
Our firm created a bank account with the GTB, and for us to operate the account, yes, they were requesting that we go and comply with SCOMO, Special Control Unit Against Money Laundering, and that we have to bring a certificate from SCOMO. And we argued that the court had already laid this matter to rest in 2015 when the court decided the case of MB and CBN, and in 2018 when it decided the case of Microsecome and FRN. And they were not willing to, according to GTB, CBN had already issued a circular that all deposit money banks should comply with the provisions of the Money Laundering Act. So we went to court and challenged it, and luckily and rightly so, the court entered judgment in our favor.
Ah, okay, that's great. So at this point now, what is the way forward? Look, because I mean, it's one thing to say, okay, the court has delivered judgment in your favor. It's another thing for the EFCC to, what are the odds, or what are the guarantees that another problem will not occur, or another sneaking would not be done later on?
Well, it's for the National Assembly to maintain its standard. You know, there are several stages. There are protocols all around the world, parliamentary protocols of how to pass laws. If you imagine a situation, you want to pass a law that has to do with the rights of a woman, right?
Okay.
Let's say, for instance, one of those laws will be the Trafficking in Persons Act, you know, and you don't have stakeholders. You don't have NAPTIP, for instance, as a member. You don't have Ministry of Women Affairs coming to deliberate. These are legislative standards. It's all over the world, parliamentary practice, that you have stakeholders to deliberate so that you can chisel in and chisel out irrelevant provisions. Because National Assembly, they're like me and you, they don't have necessarily any background in that area they're trying to legislate. That's why they invite stakeholders to come and deliberate. So how do we check or forestall a future reoccurrence or sneaking in of legislation? National Assembly should maintain global acceptable practices or standard in relation to legislative passing of legislation.
Would that actually, is that really possible?
Well, if they don't,
I mean, seeing that it has happened before.
If they don't, then the courts will be willing again to repeal such offensive provisions.
Okay, that's good. So that at this point now, I mean, let's say, I won't say client like myself, let's say those clients that would need legal covering. Because why I use the word covering? Because this is sort of a covering for some of these clients, because as you know, all types of clients come to you, just like in the medical profession, all kinds of patients come to you, even the ones that are infected with dangerous, deadly sicknesses. They can't even tell their spouse, and the doctor can't even tell the spouse, because this information was given in confidence. And so now in your legal profession, before we move on to the next thing which I have planned for you, this is, don't you think, as from a legal perspective now, don't you think that this has some sort of, yes, you're creating a sort of covering for yourself and your client, but are you also helping in solving the financial fraud situations, just in case you have a client who comes to you and you know that, okay, this client has some sort of financial fraud problems?
Yes, like I said before, the attempt or the intention of lawyers, the intention of our firm or myself going to court is not to shield crime, is to protect the sanctity. You know, this thing is two ways. Let's be practical about it. You come to me telling me that you've had financial dealings, illegal financial dealings. Rather than EFCC come to me and ask me to disclose, they have an option to invite you. They have an option to investigate you, right? So,
but your client will be more open to you than be open to the EFCC.
Than them, yes, you're right. However, there's a reason why law enforcement agents are what they are or who they are. Okay, it is believed that they should have the necessary skill, infrastructure, know-how on how to crack crime or on how to unravel crime, right? If the law enforcement agents, the EFCCs, believe that it is only through us professionals that have the privilege of getting having conversations with our clients and eliciting truth from them, then it means they are trying to say they are not well equipped or they are not well trained. There are like we say, there are so many ways to kill a rat.
Rats, okay.
So it's not, you don't have to get disclosures from lawyers. There are other ways you can go about it. Financial dealings move through bank accounts. Okay. So what if the client never came to the lawyer? Maybe he was just after he did the crime or he perfected the crime, he kept quiet. Does it mean that crime will not be unraveled?
Okay, that's another angle.
So there are different ways to investigation.
Well, the most important thing is that the legal stand is still having their covering. So no compromise. So feel free to always run to your lawyer anytime there is a problem. We're not saying you should go into fraud. Don't go into fraud and run to your lawyer. We'll go on a very short break. When we come back, there are some words that I believe that Abu Arome is still owing us. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back. It's still Rapid On. We're still talking about client and lawyer confidentiality. We still have Abu Arome right here in the studio with us. He has promised that he's going to get us the judgment once it is ready, right? But before then, let's just finalize something on this act, because you were telling me something while we're on that break. Those that it covers, aside from just legal practitioners. Let's get to hear that part.
Yeah, so the Money Laundering Act, in all fairness, has good intent. And there's a categorization under Section 30. They are called designated non-financial institutions and professionals. Now, this category of businesses are like supermarkets, hotels, jewelers, automobile dealers, you name it, various businesses, right? And what the intendment is to curb money laundering. And one of the ways under the act, prescribed under the act, is that when a customer comes to a dealer or a vendor and wants to transact with them, ask for necessary details such as their international passport, their biodata, their name, address, what they do for a living, just normal KYC, right? And after you do that, you state the purpose of the transaction, and forward it periodically to the FCC.
Oh, really?
So by this, the FCC is trying to use those vendors or those businesses
to track,
to fight corruption. They're trying to make them their partners in progress.
Isn't that infringing on your privacy?
Yes,
I don't want to go to a hotel, for example, and my details is being passed to the EFCC.
it's not being passed to the general public. It's being passed to the EFCC.
Even though.
Yeah, well. That's a practice. Most hotels they request for your details, and sometimes these details are even forwarded to immigration. Okay, so the EFCC has made under the Money Laundering Act, the EFCC is empowered to receive, to collect this information from designated non-financial institutions, and if you fail to comply, their penalty is 250,000.
Okay, so let me
Daily.
shift it towards this direction now. We have these laws in place. We have these acts in place. Yet we still find certain things happening, and it's almost like these people that are perpetrating this act cannot be found. I mean, in a country whereby we have BVN available, we have NIN, now we're having the act where your details will be shared to the EFCC, we have this, we have that, yet we still have crimes being perpetrated in hotels, in different places, yet these people can't be traced. How then do we explain that?
Like I said, EFCC and other law enforcement agents just need to up their game. If they need for experts in other clients to train them, why not? You know, in Nigeria we have beautiful laws. The Money Laundering Act is a very, very perfect law to fight corruption with. However, the implementation on the one hand, enforcement on the other hand, like you said, we have the BVN, we have the NIN, mandatory for most dealings today. However, we still find people go to hotels, commit crime, leave.
Exactly.
You can't find the trace of them. So I think
we have kidnappers calling people for ransom, yet they can't be traced.
Exactly. So the problem we have is a problem of skill. So yes, they just need to, up their game, like we say, or go for the necessary trainings here or outside the country. Get people to train them, and also the FCC needs to be deliberate and intentional about enforcement.
Okay, so I'm going to ask one dicey question. Is it a matter of skills and training, or is it a matter of they're deciding that this is not of importance and this one is important?
It's two ways. There's the two legs. There's the leg of ineptitude. You don't have the necessary skill or training to know what to do, right? Then there's the part of having the right will, having the will.
How can we talk about training? How can we give them the excuse of training, knowing fully that they're the ones who enforced these things and said it's mandatory? So if they did not have the required knowledge to effect this or to implement this, why then did they introduce these things and made it mandatory?
For me, asking the service providers or businesses to make these disclosures is just a lazy way of investigation. It's saying it's very too lazy. There are other ways. There are forensic tools you can use to detect crime, right? There are so many ways. You have most of these financial transactions go through financial institutions. Okay, so there's nothing stopping you from inviting the particular person, the culprit, requesting that their bank statement be produced. You have access to the bank, all the banks. You have access to everything, to communication between telephone conversations. For the purpose of national security, for instance, the right of privacy can be suspended.
Okay.
Right to privacy can be suspended. So EFCC has all the tools it needs. But like I said, I think putting the obligation on the law enforcement, on the service provider or the business owner to expose their clients is just a lazy way of investigating.
All right, we would keep our fingers crossed to see if there are other developments, and I'll be waiting for that judgment as well so that we could share it to our audience. You owe me that one. Okay, good. Let's now move on to our words. So if you recall, some months ago during the early part of the Rapid Dawn, Abu used to come and share us legal terms that we didn't know about, or the one that we didn't used to take seriously. And I remember him teaching us a whole lot, and then he disappeared. And all I've been hearing from him is, I will come, I will come, I will come. So now that we have you here, okay, let's just say he got busy. Now that we have you here, what words do you have for us? What legal terms do you have for us, so that we don't go and, do anyhow outside?
Okay, so obscure legal facts.
Yes.
These things, a lot of people, there are a lot of things we take for granted, and we don't know that there are penalties to it. And
sure,
like I was just talking about now, we have good laws in Nigeria, but no implementation. The things we get away with here in Nigeria, you won't get away with it in other climes
at all.
Now, do you know it is an offense under the National Road Traffic Regulation to come down from a moving vehicle, no matter how slow the vehicle is, so long as it's not fully stopped? It's an offense. The penalty is 6 months imprisonment.
So that means all these our agberos in Lagos.
And in fact, it's also an offense to drop someone on the road without aligning towards the right. I've seen that happen a lot.
Wait. Like,
you'll be honing, you see these green caps, they just stop. Okay, you just stop someone in front of you.
So that attracts 6 months.
6 months, yes.
So that means all these agberos will have been in for 6 months.
Talking about agberos, it is an offense for conductors. And first of all, do you know that conductors are supposed to be registered with VIO?
Ha! Wait, where's that one? Where's that one written? Where is it?
National Road Traffic Regulation.
Okay.
Before you are a conductor, right? Before you're a conductor, in fact, before you are the driver of a school bus, there's a special registration for you. The special
school bus.
A driver
not
of
office
a school
bus, right?
Aside having your driver's license.
Okay.
Right. School bus, they can't. You're handling children.
Yes.
Right. So, the Vehicle Inspection Office, the VIU, register drivers of school buses. They register conductors. So,
they'll be under which body now?
And no, they register them as conductors.
VIO or road safety?
And no, VIO.
VIO.
They register with VIO.
Okay.
Right.
Are you guys hearing? Go and register with VIO if you are a conductor. Continue.
And the conductors must be of persons of good reputation. If you don't have good reputation, you won't be registered. It's funny because most of these things, they look like they're just in the laws and they are not being implemented.
Okay, good repute. So how is the measurement for good repute? How is it done?
Well, it's up to VIO. Well, maybe for instance, you've not been convicted of any offense. You don't have any history of, fighting, touting. But the opposite seems to be the case today.
Oh well. Okay, let's learn another one. So we've gotten that of road users. Road users. You don't drop someone, no matter how slow the car is. It has to stop. As a conductor, you have to be registered. As a school bus driver, you have to be registered. Which other one again?
Yeah. So in Nigeria, it is an offense to pay a person for the purpose of obtaining their consent to take their organ. For instance, the kidney transplant.
Yes.
There are a lot of people, I'm aware recently, that you're not able to even afford 3 square meals or even 2 square meals, and somebody is offering you 5 million. So
for
you just do
one
it.
of your kidney?
Yes. 5 million, 10 million. There are people that do it.
Yeah.
In this FCT. And they get paid for it. So it is a crime. However, organ harvesting has been recognized in countries like Iran. There are other countries too that people that have been sentenced to death, it is permitted under the law for their organ to be harvested, in their family or next of kin will be paid.
Oh, so if you're on life sentence to death
sentence,
you can give your organ.
Yes.
What if you were a strong criminal? So you want to have a kidney off?
It doesn't matter. It's not the kidney. The kidney is not a criminal. It's the person.
Okay. Okay. So, but in Nigeria, do we have that of if you're sentenced to death, you could give your
No,
organs?
no, we don't have. In fact, it's very narrow in Nigeria. In the case of Nigeria, you can only just give your consent. You must not receive any form of payment.
Wow.
For it. It has to be
So
voluntary.
they don't give kidney, no money, nothing, not even juice.
No, the moment you do that, you're already.
What's the sentencing like?
I can't recall the punishment, but I'm sure if I revisit the law, I'll see.
Okay. Let's take one more before we wrap up. I mean, a good one. This organ harvesting, some people will not like it.
Okay.
Let's take one more.
Okay. Did you know that it is an offense to sell cigarettes or tobacco on online platforms? Tobacco must only be sold in shops, in kiosks, but not online. It's not one of those things you can order online.
But who will go and sell cigarette online?
Well, for convenience, e-commerce. That's what e-commerce. E-commerce comes with convenience.
Okay. So what's the sentence?
And that's why you can't. That's why you can't find it. You can't find it anywhere online. So the punishment. Okay, under Section 15 of the National Tobacco Control Act, National Tobacco Control Act. I don't have the penalty now, but I'll revisit the law and.
Okay. So what if by mistake someone just says, okay, hey, give me juice, give me 2 pieces up and down, give me one carton of cigarette, give me so they shouldn't even.
You won't even find it online. I'm sure you've never seen any tobacco-related product being sold online. You won't find
I've never looked, but I would look into that now.
Jumia, you won't see it on Jumia. You see it on any of the electronic platforms.
That's interesting. I think that just in case you can't recall, tobacco, it's an offense for you to sell or buy online. It has to be from a physical store. You walk into it, you pick up and all of that. Drivers, you have to register if you're driving school bus because of children. For conductors, you have to be of good repute. And you should be registered with VIO. And you just don't drop a person on the road if the car is still moving, no matter how slow it is. I must say that thank you so much, Abarome, for coming through. High five. No.
High five.
So we're going to go on a very short break. When we come back, we'll bring the show to a close.